Welcome back, pro wrestling fans. Welcome back, IWC. It's your old buddy, the guardian of chaos, Big Daddy. And I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. Business is about to pick up. Coming to you live to tape 25 feet below the surface of the earth for another special edition of Story Time with the G.O.C. You're not going to want to miss this episode. I've been going through this series of good old JR's book that I just purchased to do a book review and to do story time along with you, the fans. I'm reading this for the very first time. It doesn't get any better than this. The 50 greatest calls of pro wrestling by the pro wrestling legend himself. We're going to jump right into it. We're going to go with the cold open. Sit back and relax. I rake that like button, leave a comment, say something, shout out to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because if he's for us, no one else can be against us. Again, I'll always say this in just about every episode. Shout out to my moderators, Austin Nance and the OTS Tribal Queen. Thanks for holding it down in these insane times. You know what happened yesterday? The near assassination of the former President of the United States. I'm here for a distraction, a stress reliever for my motivation and passion, and I hope it is as well for you guys. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. Here we go. Class is in session. Here's the introduction. Professional wrestling. Well, hold on. Stand by. Don't go anywhere. Go back to the last episode where we went back into the time machine to a short 5 years ago to 2019. To AEW's inaugural pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. And if you go back to yesterday's shows, I did an excellent 18 to 20-minute opening monologue reading the reviews of everyone from John Cena to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to Bret the Hitman Hart about Jim Ross's book, Business is About to Pick Up. And then, of course, we went all the way back to November of 1988 to review Dusty Rhodes and the Road Warriors and that legendary feud here on Storytime. And today, I give you the introduction as we go forward to go back. Don't go anywhere, man. Well, it's sugar-free. No, they're not my sponsor. I only have one loyal sponsor that's been with me from the beginning. And that would be my old buddy, Mr. Hempel Stillskin. That's right, Mr. Hempel Stillskin. What a name. Although I haven't seen him in a while. He's working like 180 hours a week. I hope to see him soon. And his company, wait for it, Sweet Heel CBD over at sweetheal.com. That's right, Mr. Hempel Stillskin and Sweet Heel CBD. If you want tinctures, lotions, balms, edibles, flour, gummies, they cover it all from pillar to post and coast to coast. So check it out. And if you use the promo code CHAOS, CHAOS, I believe depending on how much your checkout items are, you get 20 or 25% off of your CBD products. Does it get any better than that? I don't think so. So a big shout out to Mr. Hempel Stillskin at Sweet Heel CBD, one of the best companies in the Northeast, the greater New England tri-state area, in the shadows of Titan Towers. Are we ready? Hello? McFly? Is anybody home? Professional wrestling. You say those words to people and it'll probably elicit a myriad of different reactions. Some might throw out their favorite Kenny Omega match. Some might try an eyebrow to be raised from The Rock, while others will shake their head and tell you it's not real. Me? I've loved professional wrestling my whole life, long before it ever became my career. I was drawn to the irony of how the friction on my TV could bring people together, and that's true of all races, creeds, colors, and cultures. It's really true, especially back in the days between the 50s and into the 80s, even into the 90s. It brought us together, not like the BS we're experiencing in 2024 where they're trying to divide us, even in pro wrestling. You guys call it tribalism. Hello? Fandom is what it's all about. I love that. At its core, Wrestling fulfilled a human desire to see conflict have a satisfying conclusion. Pardon me. Good versus evil, kind of like how it is right now. We're in a spiritual warfare in this country and around the globe. And I know I'm interjecting here, but that's what you do. I give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what I do for you. That's just the way it is on this channel. Stay mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually fit. In order to get respect, you have to start with respecting yourself. Once you do that, you open other people's minds to respecting you, because there's three types of people in this world. Those who don't know what happened, those who wonder what happened, and people like the Guardian of Chaos that make things happen. That's why you're here. That's why there's over 3,000 videos on this channel. That's why there's thousands of you watching here every week, even though I'm live to tape and I'm not live. That's why we're coming up close to 1 million total views for this small show. Reality. That's right, it's a show. It's not a fucking podcast. Back to the task at hand. Right versus wrong, heel versus babyface. And looking back to writing this book, I'll never forget how lucky I was, a small town farm boy, fan to break in it all, and how blessed I continue to be to stay in. As we know, 2024, and JR is still in with AEW. Talk about longevity, 50 years. Jim Ross on my Mount Rushmore, along with the likes of Gordon Soley, Lance Russell, and I can go on and on. I found my way in at the most unlikely time in the most unlikely place, with the most unlikely chance of lasting. I wasn't connected to anyone who would protect or vouch for me. I didn't have any of the undeniable attributes that wrestling coveted, like a sculpted body or a freakish athleticism. In a world of sequins and showboats, I was just a chubby guy in a polyester suit. But once I found my voice, I found my place. Remember, fans, as I read this to you, the introduction to Business is About to Pick Up. There's a rear view mirror and there's a front windshield. And I explain it almost on every show. It's there for a reason. The rear view mirror is smaller for a reason. We all know that. Look back, honor it, respect it, remember where you came from. Because without that, you can't get to where you're going or where you want to go. With that being said, you also have to look in that big, wild windshield, big, wide open windshield, I should say, and step on the gas and full speed ahead. But remember the reasoning, and that's why I'm reading this and chose this episode to talk about the introduction of Business is About to Pick Up. Alexa, play tropical thunderstorm sounds. How apropos. You know I have heat with that mechanical AI bitch, right? It hasn't changed. For those of you that are my regulars here, you know what I'm talking about. Let's get back into the focus, man. My mind's like a lazy Susan. It'll come back around. I'm as confused as a baby at Hooters. You guys know. Wait. Too much? Too soon? No? Somebody say something in the live chat. In 1974, I think I was, what was I, like 11 years old or 12 years old at the time? Put that in perspective. The old man brand, the over 50 demo god, I guess I could say 60 demo god. I tell it like it is, man. In 1974, I left my parents' home in Oklahoma for a summer job in wrestling. But that summer ran into Christmas, and then another year came, then a decade, then another. I was Dorothy, who found herself a long way from Kansas. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. The whiz, whatever the wizard was, whatever the whiz, was, the whiz. No? What the fuck? I'm trying to be entertaining here as well as factual and knowledgeable so that when you go to your next picnic or barbecue or next outing or venue or work or your next family gathering, you know what you're talking about because you learned history and facts on this channel. No better here. Just unique and different, and that's why you're here. I'm trying to give you some entertainment. Lighten up, man. Keep faith. But the difference for me was I didn't want to find a way home. I was happily lost in a world of tough guys, kind souls, weary travelers, grifters, sweethearts, liars, and friends. From all parts of the world, we arrived backstage through many paths, from many places. But come showtime, we all waited together behind that curtain to entertain and excite. Didn't matter our nationality, age, sex, or beliefs. We were bonded by the live reaction and judged by the dollars we drew and the ratings we garnered. Hence, when I always say what pro wrestling does and did, that I don't think it does currently in this day, in this climate, in this age. It didn't matter what skin color you were, what race you were, what religion, creed, your background, none of that mattered. Male, female. Because there's only two genders. That's just the fucking way it was, and that's the way the Lord made us. And I apologize for cussing, but that's the facts, and it brought us together. Pro wrestling wasn't affected by most of the bullshit that we see now, but now it is, and that's what made it different. And that's why you're here to connect with me. That's what I bring to you, and I hope you understand that. This is a shoot right now. Let's get back to the story. From the outside, professional wrestling can present itself as a glamorous and alluring proposition, but it can also be a cruel machine that constantly needs to be fed with fresh faces, stories, and personalities. Thousands and thousands have come and gone, while very few build a decades-long career. But somehow, throughout the various twists and turns in history, I managed to do just that. I worked across several companies through several eras, giving me a front row seat to all the major startups, mergers, signings, and takeovers that wrestling itself to grow into a multi-billion-dollar business. My wonderful wrestling odyssey has led me from regional crowds of tens of people to a global audience of millions. As the business grew, changed, and thrived, I was right there with it, watching, narrating, evolving from role to role, company to company, talent to executive, and back again. And I did it while making mistakes, trying to be decent, failing, climbing, struggling, and calling my heart out. You guys know I had personal dealings with Jim Ross in the middle 90s, early to middle 90s, when he was the talent coordinator at WWE, where I sent my promotional tapes up to the offices in Stamford. Didn't work out the way I wanted, JR, but I don't hold it against you. You, J.J. Dillon, Terry Taylor, Dusty, Harley Race, Tommy Dreamer, all of us who I dealt with in the past. I don't think I've forgotten. Oh, Lordy, thank God I'm not 40. Over the last 50 years, I've kept my passion for professional wrestling and thankfully maintain a fan base who wants to hear me call it. Now I'd like to take you with me across my half century in the business as I drop into some of wrestling's biggest events, happenings, and history-making moments, narrating the action the way I have my whole career, with the words that left my mouth at that moment, at that time, in that place. And just as I've crafted my words at the announce desk over the years, I'm excited to do so here now. So sit back and relax as we journey back through the last 50 years of professional wrestling, using calls you may have heard, some you may have forgotten, and others that might be completely new to you. Each of which meant something in the context and era in which I had the privilege to say them. Ladies and gentlemen, business is about to pick up.